Good morning, everybody. It's rainy here, and I know it's rainy there. So I know the weather's been actually pretty severe in West Virginia, so I hope everybody stays safe. Very busy week here on Capitol Hill. We are embarking today here in the Senate on the reconciliation bill, which will extend the tax relief that was put into place under President Trump's first term, the 2017 Tax and Jobs Investment Act. It created a lot of prosperity across the country. Everybody got tax relief, and I want to continue that. I'm not interested in hiking anybody's taxes to the tune of $4 trillion. I also want to abide by the president's aspirational goals of a safe border, so there's money in there for the border. Also unleashing American energy, which will have great impacts on West Virginia. I think that aspect is exceedingly important to the prosperity of many Americans. National security, so where our military is at peak performance, we see that there are dangerous spots all across the world, and there are people that are absolutely spend every single waking hour trying to find a way to destroy our democracy, and we're not going to allow that. And then prosperity for American people, which will be the job creation and tax act that we are going to be passing and extending those taxes. So that's where we are with that. This is the very first step. Well, it's not exactly the first step, but it is a step, and it's an early step because the aspect of actually putting the bill together will not be completed until we do the next step, which is writing the policies to match up with the aspirational goals that we have. So today will be, and this weekend will be pretty long. I think we'll be voting into the early mornings of the hours. I know there's been a lot of news stories about the cuts at NIOSH, and I wanted in Morgantown, and I wanted to express, as I did through my written statement, that I am extremely concerned about this. This is impacting and will impact not only the folks that were let go and families, but it also the health and safety of our coal miners and our firefighters. I've talked to Robert Kennedy about this last week, not specifically this, but saying don't cut into the bone here of HHS. I understand getting rid of duplications and over extensions and bloated, but in this case, I have strong disagreements with the administration, and I will tell you that I will be having a phone call with him in the next 2 hours where I would re-express this hope that he reopen this aspect of something that's important to our workplace safety. With those two things, I think we can go ahead, and Kelly's going to start us off.
Yep. So first question is Bob Westfall, WTRF.
Hey, Bob.
Good morning, Senator. Good morning, Kelly. I want to talk about those cuts, but cuts somewhere else. The low-income home energy assistance program, 10,000 people let off from there, 10 people, staff of 10 people. 56,000 West Virginians took advantage of that program for the heating. Now, with no one in D.C. to administrate that money, how does the state come up with the difference? Because if everything's going back to the state to take care of things, where does West Virginia get that money? And B, what do you tell the families that are counting on that money that they are no longer going to receive?
Well, I think it's an important question, Bob, because not only do people use this money for heating their homes, it also can be used for cooling your homes in extremely hot periods of time with high energy bills. And so I am concerned about this. The money is there. It's appropriated by the Congress, and it will be spent for helping low-income assistance of the 58,000 West Virginians that access this. And so these are the questions we're asking the administration. We haven't gotten satisfactory answers yet or any definitive answers, but I can assure you this program will be moving forward. And I want those West Virginians that are on this program or rely on it to have some assurance that I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that money's available to them. And I think we'll be successful.
Next up, we have Rashad Hudson with Nexstar.
Hi, Rashad.
Hi, Senator. Thanks as always.
Sure.
I want to get your reaction to President Trump's tariffs that he announced yesterday. We're seeing the stock market drop as we speak. what do you want people in West Virginia and across the country to know as it relates to these tariffs? There's a lot of concern that the costs will be passed on to consumers.
Well, I'm concerned about this as well. We're getting a lot of phone calls into the office if people are looking at their, 401ks or their retirement accounts. When you have a dramatic drop in the market like this, it obviously impacts that segment and those accounts, and that's worrisome. However, I will say that the president's goals here are to enhance the American worker, to bring more manufacturing back into this country, but to also make sure that we are treated on an even-handed with a lot of countries. In many cases, countries all over the world are taxing or tariffing our products into their country at astronomical rates, and we're not, which disadvantages our products and also disadvantages our workers because we can't compete. So the president has embarked on a reciprocal tariff regime where if you tax me or tariff me 10, I'm going to tariff you 10, and so I think that we're going to see a lot of movement here. Haven't seen reports just this morning yet of that, but I know that's going to occur. Many folks, and I'm sort of in this category too, don't think these will be in place in 6 months the way they look right now. If in fact, in some cases, there actually is any kind of debate from country to country, there will be remaining debate. So, I think today's a tough day, but I think the president is doing this because he wants to see our American worker and our American products be at a distinct and clear, even keel with the rest of the world.
Next up, we have Curtis Tate with West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, Senator. Thank
Hi.
you. Have you received any clarity from the Labor Department on the termination of leases for office space for the Mine Safety and Health Administration?
We have not. As you can imagine, everything is going rather rapid here, and it's hard to get straight answers sometimes, which is discouraging for a U.S. Senator. So I don't have any additional information on that.
Next up, we have Jamie Baker with WTOV.
Good morning, Senator.
Hi, Jamie.
You mentioned that you are expecting to talk to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here in the next 2 hours. Do you think anything that you say is going to be able to help maybe put a few jobs back? Or are you concerned that this is a set number of people who are going to be laid off and it's just going to have to move on from that?
No, I'm very concerned about that. I'm concerned about what their jobs are and what they do and how they keep our miners' safety and our look at fire equipment to make sure our firemen are safe when they're working in dangerous situations as our coal miners are. So I'm hoping to affect a brighter outlook from him that you have cut into the bone here at an essential service for workplace safety. And that would mean I would hope that he would not just bring the functions back, but the people that can perform the functions are as important as what those functions of that office are. So hopefully we'll see. We've seen this in the past where some people have been informed that they are laid off or they're put on administrative leave, and then they are brought back into the agencies. I know it's a lot of uncertainty. I certainly feel that, and we've heard from quite a few people.
Next up is Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, Senator.
Hey,
I want to know
Charles.
if your office has made any resources available to these recently displaced federal workers. Any efforts to help these folks find other employment? Thank you.
Yeah, we have been in contact with quite a few. Some of them are, as you can imagine, and rightly so, very upset, especially ones that have been long-term researchers in certain areas. And so we've offered assistance. I think that the different agencies have offered assistance as well. So, it's still pretty early here to see what's going to actually shake out. But that's no really comfort to those who have received the email that said your job was terminated today. There still is an offer out there, I think, for early retirement for a lot of federal workers. And I'm sure some people are looking at that more seriously than they might have in the past.
Next up, we have David Beard with the Dominion Post.
Hi, David.
Hi. Hi. Part of my question already got asked. I'll ask part two, which is a bit more general. Other aspects of the trimming process, where some people, even who support it, that some of it's been done clumsily. I remember there were a word of layoffs of probationary employees here at Nettle, for instance.
Right.
Is there any hope of them backtracking on that and restoring some of those jobs too?
Yeah, it's interesting you'd ask that because I just was speaking. The head of Nettle was in my office just a short time ago. She said of the 51, as I recall, the 51 probationary employees that were initially laid off, they have been asked to come back, and 41 of them are back. And so that's the good news there, 41 jobs restored. I do believe, and I will say this, that the goal of what's going on here, as painful as it is to shrink government, to make it right-sized, and the president said he was going to do this, to make it work more efficiently and better. And if the goals are met, the services that delivered are going to be as good as they have been and possibly better because of the reshaping of the organizations. So while it's painful, and I agree that it is, and I feel the pain, I think that in the end, we're hoping for a government that works better for the people and is more responsive.
Next up, we have Eric.
Okay.
Next up, we have Eric Miner with WBOY.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Senator. Actually, my question has been largely asked and answered already.
Okay.
Great. So we'll move on to Mike Nolting with Metro News.
Thank you, Kelly, and good morning, Senator.
Good morning,
I hope you're well.
Mike. I am.
Hearing from some of the workers at NIOSH, I guess we're trying to figure out who's left. Did this take out most of the leadership and the union positions? I guess the question is, who's left?
I think that's a really good question, and we're trying to get clarification precisely. It appears as there's not much left. And I don't know if the explanation, this is what I need to talk to the Secretary about. I don't know if the explanation is, well, this is duplicative and we're doing it somewhere else or under OSHA or in labor so I need to get those answers. But my understanding is there's not much left if between 180 and 200 people were let go at NIOSH. But I'll have more information, and if I get anything really substantive, I'll have Kelly send it out.
Next up,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Mike Toney with the Charleston Gazette-Mail.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Senator. I wanted to follow up on the MSHA lease termination notices. Those listings and MSHA staff reduction via President Trump's ordered hiring freeze and voluntary resignation program have prompted concerns there'll be fewer inspectors and perhaps fewer field offices in West Virginia. Potentially less robust inspection capacity, slower response times to emergencies. I wanted to ask you if the MSHA staff reductions implemented in recent weeks concern you, and what you may be doing about it if so. And on a related note, if you would support, if reintroduced as it has been in most sessions in both houses of Congress for the past decade plus, the Robert Byrd Mine Safety Protection Act, which would require the Department of Labor to revoke the approval of mine operator plans based on certain criteria, strengthen penalties for mine operators, shut down mines whose operators don't pay penalties, that sort of thing.
Well, I can tell you that I was in Congress during the Sago tragedy and UBB. And the direct results of some of those horrifying tragedies was more inspectors, more MSHA inspectors, more clarifications as to how and when inspectors can approach a mine and under what circumstances, some timelines and other things in there to make our mines safer. And I think we were able to achieve some of that to avoid these horrible tragedies. I don't want to go backwards here. I think I'm fully supportive, and I've been very supportive of keeping MSHA a robust amount of not just employees but inspections as well. So I am concerned about this, but I need to really get the assurance from MSHA and others that the aspect of safety that is so critical here is still paramount, and that's the guiding principle, and that will be fully attended to under the new scenario. I'm not sure I have that assurance right now, so I need to get that. On the Robert C. Byrd bill, I haven't ever co-sponsored it to my knowledge. I certainly, a lot of that has to do with dust levels and other things. I think, I've done at every turn been very supportive to making sure that our miners are as safe as possible in a very dangerous situation.
Next up is Tom Sussman with WMOV.
Senator,
hey, Tom.
Things are going well, and appreciate you having. Senator, there are about 67,000 people in West Virginia that are on the exchange through healthcare.gov, and the enhanced advanced tax credit ends at the end of the year, which could impact them. And then the House of Representatives budget resolution wants to remove, I think, about $880 billion from entitlements, including Medicaid, and some say that may impact the expansion population as well as traditional Medicaid. Does the Senate have a plan on what it wants to happen with health care, including Medicaid expansion, and the exchange moving forward with this reconciliation?
Well, I think that obviously, since you have to deal with entitlements through reconciliation, you can't deal with discretionary spending. The president has you can't deal with Social Security through reconciliation at all. That's against the law. So that leaves Medicare and Medicaid. We have $36 trillion worth of debt here that we have got to start turning the page on and moving it down. I mean, there's no question that we're at a tipping point here. And so the big drivers of our costs are, one of them is Medicare and one of them is Medicaid. The president has said he's willing to look at waste, fraud, and abuse, particularly in the Medicaid arena, which, as you know, and as in your former positions, you definitely know that the state is the primary enactor and creator of their own Medicaid programs within the federal boundaries. We'd like to move more of that to the states. We did expand in West Virginia, and we've been expanded for a long time. And as you know, you're reimbursed at a higher rate for the expansion population than you are for the general Medicaid population, which Medicaid was created for to begin with. Disabled children, folks that can't work, people with disabilities or low incomes and are unable to get health care any other way. And so we don't want to jeopardize what the core mission of Medicaid is and should be, and helping our fellow West Virginians access to care. I think everything's going to be looked at. You can see reports of possible work requirements, possible changing of the FMAP, the 90-10 on the expansion population. That could change. We could also be looking at things such as duplicative billing through each one of the states. I read an article where there's billions of dollars there. There's got to be fraud and waste there. I think the West Virginia program, as I talked with them, has already offered some suggestions of ways that the program could run more efficiently and save money. And so that's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in throwing anybody off of their insurance, and it will be characterized as such. But I think if we make it work for the people that are on it more efficiently and better, it's going to be there longer.
Next up, we have Latasha Saunders from WCHS.
Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
And you've already touched a little bit on this about the federal cuts here in the states. Do you expect there to be more cuts? And what would you say to those who have lost their jobs And what would you say to those who are in fear of losing their job?
Well, there's a lot of angst. I know that from being home, and also I've got a flood of people coming up here to Washington. We have emails and telephone calls, and I understand. And some people are really mad, and I don't blame them. I mean, I would be too, and I think that the best way to look at this is that the core functions of government and the way government serves all of us are the principal responsibilities of the executive branch and the cabinet departments. And so what I would say to those that have lost their jobs is hopefully we can reconnect, if you want to stay a federal employment, there's a freeze right now, but there will be opportunities later. Hopefully we can find that and help them find that. But this is not an easy thing, and there's nothing I can say. I honestly don't believe that's going to make anybody feel any better, except that I'm aware of what's going on. I will help them however I can, and we need to move forward. I think also that people need to this is not going to help much, but need to keep in mind that at some point some positions are recreated and people will be going back into their positions. So it's a very unsettling time, I agree.
And our last question is Rick Johnson with WOWK.
Hello, Senator.
Hey, Rick.
I wanted to ask you about the reduction of 7,000 workers at Social Security Administration. That's people who work there. How confident are you that beneficiaries will not see a lag in services or their monthly benefit checks maybe arriving late? Any words of encouragement there?
Well, I don't think that their checks will be arriving late. I haven't heard that that's a possibility. Here's where I'm concerned, and I think you see it in the national media, is there's been a debate as to whether the telephone helplines and folks that are signing up for benefits are going to be available, with the assumption that if we eliminate the telephone lines, everybody's going to be able to do it online. Well, we live in a state where that's not possible. It's not possible because some folks in our population are still not online, but also there's a lack of connectivity. So I think the administration recognized that and backtracked from that idea. But we have to know that Social Security has been not the best at the communications, even at this, with 7,000 more people there, still lacking. And I think what we're hoping is we can make it more efficient, more responsive, and maybe using AI make it actually more accurate. And so, we need to get rid of duplicative people. We need to get, you see the statistics of people over 100 that don't make any sense. So there are reports of people under the same security number, 14 people getting benefits. I mean, this can be stopped. And so I think that's the encouragement I would give people. I don't want people on Social Security to worry, because I know they do. And they need that check at the day they're supposed to get it for a lot of different reasons. And I don't think their checks are going to be late.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.